Legal Aid Society Executive Director Miguel Keberlin rejoins us to present the Legal Aid Society's William H. Avery Award.
The Legal Aid Society established our Avery Award in 1985 in memory of William H. Avery, former partner of Sidley Austin. The award recognizes outstanding leadership in providing legal aid for those unable to afford an attorney and promoting equal access to justice. We are honored to present this year's award to Hubert Allen, Executive Vice President, General Counsel, and Secretary of Abbott Laboratories, for his and Abbott's outstanding contributions to the legal community and to creating more pathways towards equal justice for all. Hubert is an active board member of Metropolitan Family Services and has served as Abbott's Executive Vice President, General Counsel, and Secretary since 2013. In addition to his positions with Abbott and Metropolitan Family Services, Hubert also serves on the Executive Committee of the Commercial Club of Chicago. Abbott has a long-standing commitment to community service, and under Hubert's direction, formalized a very robust pro bono program open to everyone in the legal division. The program supports more than 50 different legal aid and community service programs by supporting immigrants in navigating the naturalization process, elderly individuals with a host of different legal issues, and those who have been denied SNAP benefits. Abbott also has collaborated with Street Law Inc. to encourage and educate Chicago area high school students interested in careers in law. Hubert's personal values of excellence, integrity, perseverance, and embracing challenge influence his approach to leadership and Abbott's commitment to supporting pro bono law. And it shows in the feedback Abbott receives from its pro bono volunteers. Some of the comments they've received include, "This reminded me of why I became a lawyer." Another volunteer said, "It was tremendously rewarding to have helped someone in such an important and tangible way, but it was also overwhelming to see such need." And a third remarked, "We are so fortunate that Abbott encourages and facilitates participating in community service programs and providing pro bono legal services." On that note, I am very pleased to present the 2020 William H. Avery Award for Outstanding Contributions to the legal community and to equal access to justice to Hubert Allen.
Hi, I'm Kyle Harvey. I'm a Legal Aid Society board member and also a board member of Metropolitan Family Services and a friend of Hubert Allen, who I'm interviewing today. Hi, Hubert.
Hi, Kyle. How are you?
I'm great. I know you and Abbott Laboratories are working flat out these days, so thank you so much for taking time to talk about equal access to justice and why it's really important now.
Well, thank you. It's my pleasure. Things have been busy, but I'm happy to take the time to do this.
Excellent. Well, let's first talk about why you think pro bono services are important for lawyers and our community here in the Chicago area.
Okay. Well, when I think about pro bono service, I think about it two ways, right? Really the impact it has on the world and then the impact it has on the lawyers. Thinking about the impact it has on the world, in a lot of ways, I'll just say it's personal, right? In the sense that I was born and I grew up in the city of Boston, and I was born to immigrants from the West Indies, and we didn't have a lot, right? And I began my life in a way where I think it was more likely that I would become a client of legal services than a recipient of an award, right? And so the impact that organizations like this here in Chicago and around the country have on people, I think is important, and I think it's sort of meaningful. I grew up in the 70s in Boston, which was a time of tremendous racial tension. Boston is, of course, not known, unfortunately, for its racial equality. I think it speaks to a system that needs intervention on the part of people who are serious about creating a different type of world. A couple of years ago, I think there was a study done by the Boston Globe, and even today in the city of Boston, I think the median income for Black families is $8, right? And when we think about that statistic, it cries out for a need for change. It cries out for a need for systemic change, and it cries out for a need for individual change and individual intervention in the world. All right. I have been fortunate to be the recipient of help in my life when I've needed it. I've been the recipient of interventions at critical points in my life, and I've been able to lead a really kind of improbable life in a lot of different ways. So in a very personal way, I understand that pro bono is important because it's important because you're affecting people. You're intervening at a point where somebody needs something that they don't have the ability to do themselves, nor do they have the ability to pay for it. But doing it is important, and doing it can change the trajectory of a person's life, right? And from that perspective alone, I think that, what Legal Aid Society does and what we as lawyers, whether it's at Abbott or other places, can do in terms of providing client service is extraordinarily important. So that's kind of the client side of it and the world side of it. On the other side of it is the lawyer, right? And I think that those of us who've done pro bono, and I know you've done pro bono work, and all sorts of lawyers have done it. It's a tremendously important opportunity, particularly early in your career, because it gives you the opportunity to be a real lawyer in a way that working at a law firm may not. And it gives you an opportunity to interact with clients and to sort of really think in a holistic way, hopefully, about what they need and how you can provide a service that is important for them. There are skills learned from it, certainly in the large litigation cases. There are immense skills that are learned from that. But even in the direct service work, you learn how to be a lawyer, how to be a counselor, how to interact with clients, and that is an important thing to do. And then lastly, for people who get into the legal profession, we have the advantage of being part of this profession, but the profession itself is insular. We talk about diversity and inclusion, and that is a matter of sort of who we have in the profession, but it's also a matter of our connectivity to the rest of the world. And doing pro bono work, being involved in all the communities in Chicago, broadens your aperture and helps you understand, for at least for a little minute, a life you're not living, and it helps you interact with people who teach you things. And so I think that is in and of itself important.
I can't agree with you more.
Yeah.
I mean, you nailed it.
Yeah.
And it's really refreshing to hear somebody who's risen as high as you have in the profession so passionate about it. So thank you. Well, Tell us a little bit more about Abbott's pro bono program, because not every company has established one, but Abbott has. So tell us about it.
Sure. Well, we've established one. It is an outgrowth of something we were doing before. We were doing what I'd call community service projects for a long time. One of the things that is important to me and was important to my predecessor was that we engage in programs where every legal professional has the opportunity to contribute. And so that started for us probably more in the social service side, but then it progressed into a pro bono program a couple of years ago. I can't take credit for the program. I mean, the program is really driven and is really run by an incredible bunch of lawyers in our department. I mean, particularly Laura Ward has taken a laboring oar to bring the program into reality. There's a lot of enthusiasm for it here in Lake County, and we're also doing things in some of our other locations in Texas and California and elsewhere, Columbus, Ohio. And so, the program has grown a little bit organically in the sense that we have followed the passions and the interest of the lawyers and legal professionals who are a part of the program. And so we take opportunities as they come to us. They often come to us because it's something that someone is passionate about doing. We evaluate it and we figure out how we can help and how we can make a difference, and then we engage in it that way. I mean, one of our early decisions that we sweated a lot was whether to organize a program on a direct service model or to organize the program by being involved and lending support to what I call wider ranging kind of landmark litigation type things. We work with our law firm partners, and a lot of those partners are involved in cases that are broad reaching. And so we thought a lot about that. But at the end of the day, what I decided is we should let the people who are actually going to do the work bring to us things that they were passionate about, because being passionate about it makes a huge difference in terms of commitment and also just, you know, the enthusiasm you bring to the work itself.
Let's talk now about diversity, inclusion, and equity, and the changes that our society is demanding of the status quo. Mm-hmm. You are at the top of the legal profession. What's your view of how things are today and how far they've come over the course of your career?
My view of how things are today is, not enough on this front. And sort of my view of how things have changed is kind of mixed. Look, I think if you look at the statistics nationally, there's been a shockingly small change in terms of the private law firm sector. I think that when I graduated versus today, there is some improvement, but that improvement is really, really slight. I think in departments like ours, and in-house legal departments, I think there's been more change. I cannot remember the statistic, but I recently saw a statistic about the number of general counsel now in the Fortune 500 who are people of color and women, and it's a different number than when I started, in a positive direction, than when I started in the legal profession, a while back. In our particular industry, of the 4 largest medical device companies in this country, 3 of them, including ours, have general counsel who are Black people. 2 of them and one a woman, right? So that's a very different world than I left law school into. At the law firm level, like I said, the change has been slower and the change has been harder. And it is something I am hoping and we are pushing the law firms we work with, or helping, I shouldn't say pushing, I guess, the law firms to engage in how they improve their retention of both women and people of color. Internally, our statistics with respect to women are extraordinary. We have some work with people of color, to be honest, and it's work that we're doing, but it's work that will take some time.
Well, what's your advice to senior management of firms who want and yet still haven't succeeded in diversifying their rosters?
Do it.
I know, but how? Their response is how?
Look, I think that the question is really, it's really a question of paying attention to the people that they have been able to recruit. I think that, we ask for statistics from the law firms we work with, and I think what those statistics demonstrate is what we see in the larger profession, which is that the law firms do okay in terms of bringing people in. I think it's in the retention question where things get harder. And so I would say that the biggest issue is really setting up systems, structures and processes to pay attention to the opportunities that people are getting. Every person who joins a firm, who joins our department, who joins any legal organization, does it because they want to be challenged by the work they're doing, and they want to learn and they want to grow. And I think that where firms have to evolve is really paying attention to the staffing of matters and paying attention to the work that's being given to individuals so that they can get better retention. There's obviously in all organizations, corporate organizations, questions of inclusion. I think we all have work to do, and we all struggle with the question of everybody being able to bring our authentic self to work. But I think that more fundamentally than that almost is this question of, are you giving people opportunities to be involved in things that are interesting and that are meaningful to them, meaningful to the firm, and meaningful to their clients, so that they can advance through the process.
So let's just circle one more time back to you and Abbott. What are you guys doing to promote diversity and inclusion and equity at your workplace?
Sure. Well, I mean, we in the legal division are kind of, we have, I guess you can call it an initiative, but I hate the word initiative because it makes it feel temporary. We have been committed to working in a lot of different ways to do it in the profession and with ourselves. Ourselves is the easiest. We have the easiest and the hardest. We've been committed in terms of as we post jobs, as we look for people, that we keep looking until we get a slate of people that is diverse. I mean, that takes longer to fill every job, but we've made a commitment that we need to see women, we need to see people of color, we need to see people from other countries and so on and so forth as we fill each job internally. As job openings come up, if we're going to do an internal fill, one of the things that we've been focused on, although we haven't, you can only be successful at this in the margins because people do have to live their own lives. But we try to bring to the U.S. and send from the U.S. Lawyers who work with us into openings, because you had that experience of doing that, and that broadens perspective, and it broadens our own perspective. In terms of lawyers of color that we're hiring, again, it's what I said about the law firms. You have to pay attention to people's career development, which is something I've been trying to do very personally in terms of that type of work. With respect to the profession, we are supporting organizations like Just the Beginning Foundation, who are really focused on college students and younger kids who might want to join the legal profession. We have a 1L internship program that we work with, mostly Kirkland, Sidley and Austin, and Baker McKenzie, to sort of give a couple of weeks out of the summer to one of their associates to understand what working inside of a corporation is like, and we have a diversity requirement for that. We are partnering with law schools to sort of get the message of working for an in-house legal department is a good thing to do, doing out there. And then lastly, like I mentioned before, we are really working with our firms to try to ensure that for every matter we have, because we think we have interesting matters. Some days I wish we had less interesting matters. To get a diverse slate of lawyers working on our matters.
That all sounds really good. Where do you see our profession in 5 years if real change is implemented?
In 5 years, I think, look, if we think about careers and we think about lifespans, in 5 years, I think we're at the beginning of meaningful change, right? In 5 years, I think that the makeup of law firm partnerships starts to change. The makeup of jobs like my own continue to change. The makeup of law departments and corporations change. In public service, it changes. In government, it changes. But I think that 5 years, I think one of the things that we need to accept is that while this moment is important and this moment needs to be embraced, this is a project that is going to take decades. And I don't mean let's move slow, but I mean that we have to work with people as they move through careers, and that's not a 5-year thing. That's not it is better at 5 years. It needs to be better at 5 years. It needs to be better at 10 years. But if we as a profession are really committed to this, then we're going to get to a place of real, inclusion at every level, probably in 10 years and more. And just because of the fact that we have to dig ourselves out of a hole. And the ranks of 8th-year associates aren't as diverse as we want them to be. The ranks of people in law departments who are about to get to the VP level is not as diverse as we want it to be, and we're going to have to work on that over the next 5 years. And at the beginning of 5 years, I'm hoping we're right at the edge of that change, and in 10 years, I'm hoping it looks extremely different.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time today, and congratulations on winning the William H. Avery Award.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's great to chat with you always.
Always.
Great to chat with you in this setup, and I am excited about the award. Not for myself, but I'm excited about it for the work that our department is doing, and I'm excited about the work that the Legal Aid Society is doing. So thank you.
Thank you.